Looks like we are live. Let me see. We will be going live here. Oh, we are live, aren't we? Technical difficulties once again. Looks like we're live. Hey, welcome. Welcome, guests. Let me turn down the music just a little bit here. Just a tad. Above the sky. Whoa. What am I doing? Looks like we are broadcasting Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Soldiers of Self-Mastery. All right. Hey, my friends. Welcome. All right. We're here getting started. There we go. Welcome, guests. Soldier in the making. Happy New Year. Welcome to your hour of power, your solution interaction podcast. Get in, buckle up. We're going to do some speeding tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Turn down all distractions. Grab a pen. Don't grab a hand. Did you invite a friend? All right. I am your host, Soldier of Self-Mastery, out of Stockton, Coach Santos out of Stockton, California. Visionary, the world's #1 problem gambling interventionist. All addictions welcome. By the way, gambling is a lie. All right. This is your time right now to Soldier Scribe. If you haven't Soldier Scribed, let me get you back on here. Make sure your notifications are turned to all. It's very important. All right. Gambling is a lie. Second time I repeated that one. A fry will make you die. Time to decide and let go your pride. All right. Let's get started. We're going to do a little bit of reading. I'm going to show a little clip tonight, and we're going to read from 15-minute mornings. This evening's topic is basically going to center around the questions that are unanswered. You have questions. And I don't know if Jim, let me check, let me make sure that Jim is available. First of all, I want to welcome Mark. Thank you for coming on board. Race, welcome for being here. Jim Yumoto, good evening, it's time. Looks like Jim is working on connecting there. And looks like we might have a small community come on today. Anyhow, we are broadcasting via Facebook. I'm excited. YouTube, I'm super excited. And Twitter, tweet, tweet, tweet. The birds are flying. Anyhow, as I said once, I'm going to say it again. This is your time right now to Soldier Scribe. If you're not Soldier Scribe to this channel, and make sure that you turn your notifications to all. All right. Tonight's topic is questions, your questions, and our answers. Coach Jim and I are going to do our very best to focus on you completely as much as possible, on your thoughts and on your concerns. So participate and don't hold back, especially if you're not where you need to be. All right. Time is going to go by fast. As I mentioned, make sure that your seatbelts are on. We have a proverb coming up. Let me see. I'm going to read. I'm going to read a proverb. But before I read the proverb, I want to get into this thing here. This is Chicken Soup for the Soul, America's Heroes. I think Jim's coming on here pretty soon. Heroism is the divine relation which, in all times, unites a man with other great men, or a woman with other great women. Thomas Carlyle. All right. Are you guys ready for this? I hope you got some questions for me, because if not, I'll just shut the program down. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, I'm excited. It's a new year. We're heading towards 2024. We're going to bring Jim on. I've got a little clip that I'm going to be playing. Wow, it's a clip of me almost 7 years ago. So there's a little bit of a difference. It was a very hot day. I'm going to get into that clip in a little bit here. Let me see, make sure that, will I be able to do this? Let me see. Okay, I got that. I'm going to be sharing. Oops, let me get out of this here just for a minute. So let me, I got that up. I got that in there. Okay. So we're going to be taking on your questions tonight. Let me see, where am I at here? My goodness. I'm just experimenting here a little bit. Hey, Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, Santos. Good
All
evening. How are
right.
you?
Thank you for joining us, Coach Jim out of Tucson, Arizona, business guru, educator. I don't know. I'm kind of throwing some things at Jim. He's
Yeah.
becoming part of the furniture like myself around here. So I'm glad to see you on board. And again, the time is going to go by quick. It looks like we've got a few other guests, community members. Mauricio, good to see you. Mauricio Pereira, good evening. Moment to moment, life changes. Good. We got a question here. We're going to take that on pretty soon. Salute to Santos and chat and Jim. Forgot Coach Jim there. The Rock from Brockton. Kind of reminds me of WWE there. And then we have Mark Cameroon. And Mark is a little bit under the weather. I guess he's had some surgery or something. Well, I've had some surgery also. I had to put my father's remains into the earth. And we did that on Tuesday last week. So kind of been bittersweet, but one by one, we all go. We're going to go. His death was kind of peaceful, so I'm grateful for that. And he's no longer suffering. So I'm really grateful for that. All right, your questions and our answers. And give Jim a chance to speak here for a moment. And then we're going to read one proverb, John 8, 1 and 2. Jim, what's going on? What's happening here?
Yeah, nothing. Well, just basically trying to refine things, right? Journaling, writing things down, reflecting, trying to figure out, I was thinking about, the U2, the musical band U2, Joshua Tree. They had a song, and that song was, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Okay. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. So I was thinking about that. It's a search, man. If we're going to find what we're looking for, we got to search. We got to, take that action. And it ties back into the term that I was working with last week, which was discipline, right? We got to be disciplined at
Exactly.
focusing on searching, right? What are we looking for? Because, I've been thinking about myself in the morning. I'm very disciplined. I can be very disciplined at the things I know what to do. All the things that I know how to do things, I can be very disciplined. I can clean up the room. I can clean up the kitchen. I can sweep the floor. No problem. It's easy. That discipline's easy, you see. But when I'm not comfortable, when I'm not sure, about whether it be the results or what I'm trying to do, I'm not that disciplined. I'm not disciplined. I like being disciplined at the things that I know. So it's kind of funny. I need to be more disciplined at dealing with the discomfort zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing things that are not comfortable, right? And a lot of that is actual search, right? Searching for what we really want, like finding out what
Exactly.
we really want, exactly how we're going to do it, and and just take that the effort there. So that's what was on my mind this week.
And thank you for sharing that. It's a continual process. Now we're going to take on some questions here, but it is a continual process. And unfortunately, some give up after a couple of failures, and that's what we want to stay away from. Um, so thank you for sharing that, Jim. And Laura, welcome to the broadcast. I'm going to request. This is basically the topic of this program, this podcast, is your questions. We're really going to do our best to focus on your questions and to provide you our answers, if possible. We're all different. We're all unique. Your minds are moving. There's thoughts flowing through this podcast, and I highly recommend. Jim brought us his notepad. I've got mine. This is podcast number 191. And by the way, gambling is a. I can't hear you. All right, we
Right.
know what it is. So let's take on this first question here, and then we're going to read a proverb. Why does gambling feel so good? Or why does addiction feel so good, right? In particular, gambling here, but hurts you like nothing else in your life. Why does gambling feel so good? Well, I can tell you this from experience: gambling is fun. We are risks. You know, we Jim's talking about. I haven't found what I'm looking for. We're after risks. We want to take risks. We want to gamble, and of course, we need to learn. You and I need to learn how to gamble on the right things. But the truth is that gambling is fun, especially in the beginning. You know, imagine if you won, 80,000, or I was speaking to this one nurse some time ago. She basically disappeared. I haven't even heard from her. I tried to reach out. It's life. What if you went gambling for the first time and you hit a jackpot of 60 or $70,000? Woohoo, man, you're excited, right? You're really excited. But what if within 1 to 2 weeks that 60,000 was gone? And that's what happens to most people, right? You win big, you lose big. Gambling is fun, especially today. There's so much crap happening all around us. There's so many distractions. Social media can become an addiction. So we're looking for the pill. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. YouTube. One Jim had mentioned that song. So the truth is that gambling is giving you something. Gambling is giving you something, but what is it really giving you at the final end, right? You got to think about that. We don't want to think about the end in mind most of the time. We're just so concerned about the present, right? We are. What is it? What is it? Delayed gratification, right? In some aspects, we focus on delayed gratification, but when it comes to gambling, we don't like to look at the end. It's like delayed, we don't. But when the end hits you, sometimes it hits you really fast. You lose your money, you lose your relationships, you lose your self-worth. You start losing your self-respect, man. And when you lose your self-respect, everything goes. Jim, you want to add to this?
Yeah, I mean, like any addiction, gives you immediate pleasure, right? It gives you immediate, it satisfies a craving, right? I mean, the dopamine hits, the good feelings, the, whatever, that excitement,
Serotonin?
anticipation, right?
Are we getting
We all love
serotonin?
serotonin. Yeah. Uh-huh. It's, yeah, it's like it's the anticipation, the possibility of getting something, I think, releases that dopamine, you know, um, getting something for nothing, maybe. Um, you know, uh, yeah, all those chemicals. I think the casinos are very good at manipulating the sensory aspects, I think, and they
Mhm.
make it so that you can get that immediate pleasure, I believe, right? But it's like any addiction, a bad addiction. It's like a cancer. Quietly, it starts eating away at you, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, um, you went through that the addiction. You go through the process, and the next few days you don't have any more money to pay the bills. You know, there's no more money now. No, it's like now your life is actually threatened. You're gonna get kicked out of your house. Heating is gonna be turned off. Right? It happens so insidiously, quietly. Right? Quietly. Nothing big explosion or anything like that. But you know, I think about a person that I worked with. I'm not going to mention his name, but I mean, like, he smoked a lot and he drank a lot, and now he's suffering the consequences in the hospital right now. His health is no good.
And who's that? Who are you referring to, Jim?
I worked with him. I worked with this
Oh,
individual. Yeah, he was an employee. You know, close family member, not my family, but yeah, and the smoking and the drinking, week after week, you
Co-
know, you
co-
don't feel it, but it catches up to you.
yeah,
And it's like, I guess over at the casino, it will feel bad quickly, I guess, when you lose all your money, and you know that you have to pay your rent, the next day, next few days, that's going to feel horrible. But I guess, these bad addictions take you to a fantasy land of good feelings. And, it's like, I think it's important to just, have that kind of awareness where you just step back and weigh things. You know, I mean, if you want to really beat this thing, you have to see, you know, what are these things actually worth? You know, that pleasure that I get over going to that place, is it really worth, losing my house, losing my car, not providing for my family?
exactly.
I mean, it's like, but
We like to be
sometimes,
tickled.
Mhm.
We like to be tickled. It feels good to be tickled, but
But
have
we
you ever
could be
been
running
tickled?
away, you know,
Yeah.
we could be running away
Have
from
you ever been
something.
tickled to the point where you don't want to be tickled anymore? It feels
Yeah.
good in the beginning, but like you're saying, Jim, it is um, it's silent but deadly. In the beginning, it is silent, but then as it goes along, it's like I was watching a praying mantis. Praying mantis are really really interesting creatures. Have you ever watched the praying mantis? I mean, they eat insects that are bigger than them, but of course they start out with one bite while the thing is alive, right? It's kicking and it's alive. It's got life in it, and it's just chopping away, chopping away. It kind of looks real gross if you're up close watching this activity going on. But man, that praying mantis does some serious damage to that insect. He's eating them while he's alive, and then eventually, that insect disappears, right? The one that's being eaten. It kind of reminds me of the gambling addiction or any type of addiction. Little bites, and you're alive, man. You're alive, but there's little bites being taken out of you. Eventually, you just become nothing. You become nothing. Um, I do want to. I do want to add something here. Actually, there's another question, and I hope that you're taking notes. I might be. Some people find me a little bit difficult because I'm adamant at what is working, what has worked, and is working for others, not just for me. You have to take notes. You have to be willing. You must take notes. You must be open-minded. If not, honestly, you're coming to the program and you're going to have the same issue. If you haven't conquered it yet, you're going to have it next week and the week after that. And eventually you won't even come to the broadcast anymore. You're feeling bad because this program has an energy that will inspire you, or it's going to push you away. That's the truth. You're either going to be inspired to take action here, or you're going to get sick and tired of hearing the truth. You're going to fall away, and you're going to fall away into that stuff, that addiction, the gambling, the poker, anything else that's basically that has you by the throat and you're hemorrhaging with. And by the way, um, think about this for a moment. Asking questions leads to what? When you're asking questions, what does that lead to? Right? Sometimes we think, well, I don't want to ask a question because it's kind of a stupid question. But asking questions in your life, and you do ask questions to yourself, whether you recognize it, whether you realize it or not. We all do on a daily basis. But sometimes we ask some of the dumb questions, right? And I admit I do too. I've asked dumb questions on these broadcasts. But what happens when you continue to ask questions? Think about that. All right. Think about that. What happens? Um, I want to read Proverbs here, and then we're going to get to Mauricio. Hey, welcome, Keith. Good to see you. And let me see, Laura, welcome. Welcome, Laura. Thank you for being here. Laura was saying that my dad played poker, craps and horses and races and lottery. He was a gambler. He was a gambler. And then Ray says gambling long term would lead you to be broke in tens of thousands. Let me put them up here. Gambling long term would lead you to be broke in tens of thousands in debt because you would wager so much money you would eventually end up in the negative when the math catches up to you. Now, Mark says that it's not fun. To Mark Cameroon here, he says that gambling is not fun. Well, you, I thank you for sharing that, but the truth is, there's thousands of people that gamble. Why? Because it's a pastime. Right? It's like people that watch sports. A lot of people that waste their time watching sports. Gambling is the same way. In fact, some people have even gotten so angry at watching sports at one time that if you get in the way of their game, they're liable to strike you. It can cause anger. So I'm going to read just the two verses here. It's a proverb of the day, so bear with me. I am a little religious. I guess you can call me that. Jesus, chapter 8, 1 and 2, says, Jesus went unto the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him, and he sat down and he taught them. He taught them. I love that verse. All right, let's get into this, Jim. Time is moving along. Wow, we've already been into this broadcast 21 minutes. Shout out to Facebook. Once again, gambling is a lie, and so is all these other addictions. Facebook and Twitter. Shout out to Twitter also. Somebody's watching there. So gambling long term would lead you. Here's where's the comment that I wanted to address here. That's true, moment to moment. Good evening, Santos. That was Jim. Where are we at here? There was my problem. He says, Mauricio says, my problem is poker. Here in Brazil, they say that poker is a sport of mind. You know, some people play poker and they play cards with no money involved. Some people can do that. They have that discipline. But when there's money involved, it's a different game. And the truth is, folks, ladies and gentlemen, guests, community members, we all want money. We all need money, right? We all, unfortunately, fast cars, and there's a few other things that go right. Fast cars can, or if you're driving fast, it will definitely lead you into an accident, right? Like fast money is like a fast car. Eventually, you're going to crash. So poker. Here in Brazil, they say that poker is a sport of mind, not gambling. Do you agree? Well, I can tell you poker can also lead you down the drain, just like it did to a friend of mine who was a sheriff, police officer for almost 30 years, I believe 25 to 30 years. And Krish, his last name is Sam. First name is Sam Krish. He's probably in his third year in prison right now. He was on the broadcast at one time. We did an interview with him before prison, but he lost everything: family, his business, dignity. His son is also a police officer right there. I don't know if he still is, right there where he was in Ohio, Pennsylvania, one of those areas on the East Coast. And poker, card playing was his downfall. I mean, you can read up about Sam Krish, SAMCRICH, Sheriff Sam Krish. You can look him up online and you can see what happened to him as an example. I don't, I can't say it's a sport of mind. I can tell you that if it gets out of hand and if you don't control it or leave it completely, it's going to rob you of everything, including your dignity. What do you say, Jim? Have you ever played poker, by the way, Jim? Jim looks like
No,
an old poker player.
no. I seen was that All Star Poker, World Star, Full Tilt stuff, on TV. They really glamorize that kind of stuff. But when you're putting down your own money and you are crossing your fingers and hoping the right card's gonna fall, or hopefully that guy doesn't have those cards. I mean, that's gambling, man. And you're using your own money, right? I mean, it's like I think about stocks, I think about, investments, I think about, the cryptocurrencies. They always say, don't risk what you can't afford to lose, right? And, I mean, when we're talking about problem gambling, you know, the problem is risking what you can't afford to lose. That's where the problem comes in. And it's like sometimes we get in a mindset where it's like, you know what, I can get it back. I can get it back. I can win it back. I can get it back. Let me just have one more chance, right? You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes the cards don't fall your way. And I know that there's certain skill in poker, of course, right? There's certain skill, but like there's skills in anything, I guess. I mean, and if you don't have the skills, if you don't have the discipline, right? And if you're
Exactly.
going to be good at anything, you have to have, a certain degree of discipline. Money management, emotional discipline. I think we talked about that, right? Emotional discipline. Um, you
Emotional
know,
intelligence, discipline.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like if you're faking yourself out, listening all this lingo saying, "Oh, it's a sport, it's a game of the mind," all this rationalization to perpetuate like a problem gambling deal, right? A lot of us like to kind of convince ourselves, talk us, you know, set our mind up in a way where it's okay to do what we're doing because, oh yeah, it's a sport, it takes skill. I have skill, and it's not gambling. It's we convince ourselves, and
Yeah.
it just kind of we're living in like la la land almost. We're not in the right state, and it can lead us into a bad place. So yeah, I mean, don't get faked out. Don't get faked out by what you see on TV and like you know the language people use to pump up something that's just a game of chance. Really, I mean, we see all these people, well, all these stacks of cash, right, winning at the poker table, right? you know but how many people have lost all their money you know at the poker table, right? How many
And
people
their life.
their
And their
life, yeah,
life.
they lose everything. you know I this one guy said he lost three houses, I think, gambling or something like that. He told me three homes. It's like, dang,
Wow.
man. So we don't hear about those stories because they're not glamorous, they're not positive, right? So those are swept under the rug, right? We don't hear those kinds of horror stories. They're horror stories, man. you
Yeah.
know we like to
That's
focus on
exactly.
the positive stuff, but man, we got to look at the dangers too. And it's something that we can't afford to lose, I don't think.
Especially when you have money, you don't think about the end. Oh, I've got money, I can lose, and little by little you start losing. But I want to share something out of my white book, okay, the Next Generation Influencer Program. We have to have some variance in our lives. Poker, gambling, uh, some other risk. We need to have something that sparks our spontaneity. Unfortunately, if you're focused on poker, you're focused on gambling. We look at this slot thing here. We need to have something that sparks our spontaneity. We can only function in a common scenery and pattern for so long. Our natural being craves change. We crave adventure. We crave exploration. We like to take risks. That's who we are. But the moment that we take a risk, uh, obviously it should be a risk that's going to better. I was talking to Jim about some crypto the other day. Fortunately, I kind of learned sometimes the hard way, but I'm a lot smarter today. Um, we take risks. We need to take risks, but we're taking a lot of the wrong risks. Now, again, by the way, I want to welcome Barry. Um, Barry says Brazilians are confusing it with CE. or chess playing. I believe you said that other. Terrence D411. That's what the casino is, brother. It's La La Land, as Jim said. The casino. I call it the casino. Um, Slut machines. You're making love to a machine. The software is making love to you. It's changing the way you think. It's rewiring the circuitry in your mind, the neural highways that are, we really need to be focusing on all of these things today more and more, how to change these neural highways that all these vehicles are just going fast. In your mind, it's like a highway. And we need to create new highways. We need to be excited about other things, getting excited about challenging yourself to find out what's in that treasure box deep down inside you. We all have, you have a treasure box, but have you dug deep inside yourself to bring that treasure box to the surface? It takes work, it takes effort, it takes pressure. Even the divers that go down deep, they're risking their lives to bring up a treasure box. But once they get that treasure box up to the surface, now they got to crack that thing open. It's like we have to be in the crucible of life to experience changes. And we always want looking for the easy way, the easy way to, especially when it comes to money. But then you run out of money and then you're screwed, right? You're in deep yogurt, or you're up the creek with no or you're down the creek with no oars, no
You know what,
oars at all.
Santos? I was thinking about a very famous golfer named Lee Trevino. When I was young, I would read about this professional golfer, Lee Trevino, and he grew up poor over in, I think, El Paso or something like that. And he would actually gamble on the golf course. He would put up money and compete against other people playing golf. And I guess he would win. He would like kind of make a living. He would be a hustler on the golf course. And he said it's tough when you're like, you're betting for like $20 when you have only $5, in your pocket. He said something like that. But the funny thing is that in that situation, all he had control of was himself and his golf game. Okay, so he would bet on himself, you see, and his skills and what he would do. He couldn't control anything else. And it's kind of funny when you think about the casino or whatever kinds of normal gambling. It's like a lot of people like to put the chances in someone else's hands. They feel more comfortable putting it in the machine's hands or someone else's hands, to get the win. That's kind of interesting. We don't put enough confidence and faith in ourselves like Lee Trevino did. That's kind of funny. It's like, can we gamble on ourselves? A lot of us can't, man. That's kind of weird. It's like, why can't we do that? So that means that we're lacking some type of confidence, an ability, knowledge, on, that we have the ability to gamble on ourselves. And, we can only control ourselves if we do the right things. If we do the right things, we can put money on ourselves. We can put money on ourselves if we do the right things. But, that's difficult, man. That's kind of difficult. And it's okay to gamble on yourself because you have the ability to control yourself. You can change, you can learn, you can grow, put money, put time, put energy, put it all on the line, when you do those things. I guess that's just life, right? Life is, it's uncertain, right? It's uncertain.
Yeah, it's
The only
uncertain.
thing we have,
Correct.
yeah, only thing we have, is what we can control, and
And allies.
yeah,
And allies. I don't have very many friends, but I have a few allies, right? I have a few allies. And that's what I hope that some of you that are here. By the way, I want to just share something. Again, if you have a question, if you've got a real concern, you've got something going on in your life that you want to address, you are not ashamed to expose yourself, if you will. because that's one way of winning is you got to be willing to lower your pride. I'm not saying you got to come in here undressed. Okay. That's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes, or in life, in order to get ahead, you must be willing to humble yourself and seek. There's a verse in the Bible that says, seek and you shall find, right? Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door shall be opened. We talked about asking questions earlier, and I posed a question to you. If you continue to ask the right questions, or if you ask dumb questions, what's going to happen if you keep on asking? Right? I'll let you think about that. I got something that I want to read from here real quick. And once again, I want to thank you guys, Automagic, Purify. So obviously, if you're doing something that's ruining your life, the reason why you started it was because you liked it. You found some interesting challenge in that thing. And when it comes to gambling and money, I mean, it's not hard you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that you're after money. You're after money, right? Why do we go into a casino? We don't go in there to get beat up, but that's what happens typically, right? After a little while. We go in a casino, we go into a poker room, the dark room, as my friend, the sheriff, Sam Chris, say he used to go in there on his time off, and even sometimes when he was supposed to be working. He told me one time that he walked into a bathroom and he pulled out his revolver. He looked into the mirror, he put that thing up to his head, but he didn't have the, whatever it was, to shoot himself. And I mean, this guy, if you listen to his story, if you read about Sam Krish, if you really want to see what happened to him, go online and look up the word Sam, SAMCRISH. Even the most wealthy, even the elite, well, I don't consider him an elite, but some of those that are in high places can easily fall. You know what helped him? He got himself into a program for 45 days. You know, I offer coaching. I offer a community. And there's a few people that have taken me on my offer, but most of the people, of course, I don't have a huge audience, but most of the people that I talk to, I mean, I talked to a guy that was losing between 500,000 and 700,000 in like 5 months, 3-4 months. He's a real estate agent, a triathlete. And I tried to reach out to him to encourage him, you know, maybe he needs to go into a walk-in program. But when your brain is rewired, I'm not going to say it's hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. It is doable to remove yourself from that. But you got to be determined and you got to want it. You got to want it. You have to want it. I want to read something out of my book, 15-Minute Mornings. You'll find this book on Amazon. And by the way, if you feel that this program or what I'm doing online, only if you feel that there's support and it's helping you, I'm going to ask you to contribute financially. You know, you're donating to this addiction. Why not donate into something that can be an ally for you? Okay. We can always use donations, financial contributions. I'm not ashamed to say that because I spend a lot of money doing these programs. Time and effort and money goes into what I'm doing. So only if you feel that this system, this community is profiting you in some way. Hey, $5, $10, $1,000. How much did you spend on gambling in the last year? You could be helping people, and that is a blessing to you also, because when you reach out to help others, it comes back to you in positive ways, sometimes even financially. If you wonder why you're not getting traction with what you're doing to set the world on fire or to set your life on a different course, it's because you're not working on what's important or what can get you the result that you crave, right? We all want something. There's a desire that we're craving. So here's what I'm going to present to you. So every morning you wake up, it's worth asking the question, What are three of the most important tasks? Jim was talking about this earlier, early in the morning. I learned one thing when I was in the military: make your bed. I make my bed every single day. I never leave the house without making my bed, because when I come home, I can feel good about my bed's made. That's the number one goal in the morning. That and we all have addictions. We all have good habits. Right? We know what they are. You do things sometimes without even thinking. It's the same thing when it comes to gambling and all these other addictions. They get to a point where you do them without even thinking. And our goal is to get you to think. All right. What are the three most important tasks I can focus on today that will get me closer to my goal? What are the three most important tasks that I can start this morning or this day that will get me closer, that will get you closer to your goal? It's in the book. Great little book. I think it's just a few dollars on Amazon. If you haven't gotten a copy, I'm going to invite you to get a copy. It's just a few dollar investment for yourself. And there's some pretty good nuggets in this thing. All right, enough with that. It helps pay the rent. All right, question stuff. By the way, we're coming to the end of the program. So we've got, let me see, we got another question here. Jim, let me see. Gore says, scratch offs, sports betting, slots, all of it is trash. I agree with you. Even though it's all fun, right? You got people buying lottery. I never really bought the lottery tickets, Super 5, the Lotto, the Mega Ball, but I've done it a few times. And I think I got one number one time. But, what if you win a huge amount of money, Jim, and you're not prepared for it? What if a big chunk of money just lands in your lap? That would be nice, huh? But what if you're not mentally prepared for it?
Yeah.
What happens to folks? There's a program called The Curse of the Lottery. I don't know if you ever watched it. You can find some scenes of it on YouTube. The Curse of the Lottery. And I know because I experienced that to a certain degree in my life. John Mark says, I'm an idiot. Depends on what type of idiot you see yourself as. Are you a good idiot or a bad one? Right? You can agree with that. But I wouldn't call myself an idiot, because the more you repeat that, the more you start believing it. Anyhow, any questions? We started a new trucking job. Hey, that's great. I'd like to hear that. We started a new trucking driving job, so I'll be able to send. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate your contributions. I really do. By the way, if you have a contribution and you send me $100, which somebody did, I want to acknowledge that. Somebody sent a funeral donation and for the mission. Nicola I believe he's out of Chicago. So I want to thank him for that. I've got some t-shirts with the logo. Actually not the black one that I have here, but we're getting some logos done. I got a place that can do some t-shirts. So if you send a donation and you send me your address, can't be a post office box. I guess it could be, because t-shirt could be folded up pretty small. Let me know where to send it to you. If you're willing to send at least $100, because it's going to cost me probably about $30 to send that out to you. So keep that in mind, okay? Let me see a moment. Question for Jim. Make the bed. Let me see here. Make the bed. That's true. We got to change bad habits. Okay, we're coming close to the end. We are coming close to the end here. I hope we've done some justice. Laura says in Illinois, gambling is everywhere. It's just spreading. It's online. It's in the palm of your hand, and we call it a phone. This isn't a phone. This is a handheld computer that allows you to make phone calls. This is a computer, and it could be a good one, right? It could be, somebody said it's a smartphone, or you have a dumb phone. It's either smartphone or dumb phone. But that is a computer, and we are moving fast with the technology, artificial intelligence, and all of those things. Moment to moment question for Jim. If you can afford the gambling losses, but you still lose a lot of money, is it considered an addiction?
Well, I mean, if you, I think about John Daly, another famous golfer. I'm into golf, and this guy was super successful, and he won like I think two major championships. Very popular golfer. They call him Long John, and I remember he played against Tiger Woods in the playoff. He lost to Tiger Woods, I think, on the first playoff hole. He flew, I think, to Las Vegas that night and blew like $5 million on the slots or something like that. A big amount of money.
Wow.
Okay. And I think he lost, he said he lost in an interview about $50 million. Okay. Now, I mean, I guess he's still living comfortably, you can say, but I mean, what else are you losing, when you lose that kind of money? You know, you could be adding to a lot of stress. you know you could be losing your time. If you really think about it, it's like, yeah, I guess if you like gambling, but I mean, you're losing a lot of time there. Money, time, relationships. If you think about that, it's like, yeah, and I guess some people like that. Some people, but you got to kind of stop and think about, do I really want to lose all those years, those hours, those days, those weeks? What am I really losing at the casino? Not just the money, but time and relationships and other things. It's like, what, instead of thinking about, it's like, gosh, maybe I like to travel, maybe I like to go and help people, maybe I like to go and do all this stuff that I could have done, but I didn't because I spent it all over at the casino you know
What if you get addicted to losing? Is there such a thing, right? You're addicted to the slot machine. You're addicted to going to the casino. Are you addicted to losing? I've heard people, they're just addicted to losing.
yeah. But Santos, I think about gambling, and I think about life. I was thinking about that right now. And, it's like, we like, I think that we like to gamble because we like to put the responsibility in someone else's or something else's hands. And like, life is, if we are living life, if we're moving forward, we are gambling. We have to, like, we're walking in faith. But the thing is that we don't like losing, we don't like failing, you see. And when we take a gamble on ourselves, we try something, right, and we fail, how does that make us feel? Pretty awful. A lot of people, it can be devastating. I mean, why do you think so many kids are getting trophies, for just participating, right? It's because the feeling of, quote unquote, failing, is just too awful, right? It's too awful. But you know what? I mean, like, I think about the expression walk in faith, right? Walk in faith. What does that mean? Walk in faith. Faith is like kind of like gambling almost, right? But when you're walking in faith, right, you're taking the proactive steps in doing, right? Journaling, reflecting, thinking about how I can get better next time. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? And doing it over again, right? To put the odds in your favor, right? The next time, right? And I think if we got that kind of mentality, you know, of, I need to gamble on myself. I need to put up money, time, effort, and energy on how I can get better, put, you know, control my life, and not put the odds in some horse or some slot machine
A
or some
rabbit.
blackjack
Yeah.
table or whatever it is, right?
You,
Poker.
you, you get stronger. I used to go through this. This was part of my thinking. I would go 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I thought, man, I'm strong now. I know I can go into the casino and I'm going to win this time. And I used to have that thought every once in a while. It would come to me that way when I would stay away for a couple of weeks. Man, I feel good. I know I've got some discipline, and I'd fall right flat on my face, man. It didn't work. It didn't work, man. I would lose and lose more. But it's funny because actually it's not funny, but that's the way I was thinking at many times. Man, I feel strong. I know I could beat these machines, man. I know my heart would be racing. I'd be on the way to the casino speeding. At times I got many tickets, nearly crashed a couple times, only to leave the casino depressed. All right. We've got a couple minutes left. I want to play a short clip. This is a friend of mine, okay? A friend of mine, and of course, he's a different person today, but he has vision. I want just play a few minutes of him here, and let's see what he has to say back from several years ago. Let me see if I can find this guy here. And all right, here we go.
Natural high every single day. I've always dreamed of becoming a certain person, but I didn't know how to get there. Today, I'm living that person. And I have a great responsibility to help change the lives of other people. I do. I believe that I have a great responsibility. I get online, I'm on social media sites. I'm really spending more time on YouTube because I love making videos. There's just something about videos that I really enjoy doing. I love talking. I love asking questions. I love interviewing people. But I really, really love making a change and creating progress, helping people to see themselves from a different perspective, helping people see that there's a giant within you that needs to be that needs to awake. I remember I read the book by Tony Robbins. Of course, I give all the glory to God for everything that's happened in my life. But I remember reading the book, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. I didn't understand what I was reading. I was reading about paradigms. I was reading about neurolinguistic programming. I was reading about physiology, gestures. Smiling is a very powerful gesture. In fact, stay tuned. Towards the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little freebie. I'm going to give you a gift if you're willing to stay towards the end of this video. And so, I do a lot of things today to keep my mindset optimized, to keep myself at peak level. I'm very, very careful how I speak to myself and how I speak to other people. And I do a lot of studying every day. Now, I have a vision. My dream, in fact, I wrote down my dream. I want to earn money, lots of it, for helping people stay happy, change attitudes, overcome depression, gambling, bad decisions, inconsistency. I love giving advice, making videos, answering questions, sharing my story, my testimony.
All right. Well,
I'm trying to build this vision.
oops, let me
I'm
get
trying to
out, let
build.
me get out of there. Okay. Yeah, that was me a couple years back, and I like going back to yeah, I think I was like 49 years of age at that place. Anyhow, um, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow here. Where am I at here? I began following. So we are coming to the close of this program, and I truly hope that Coach Jim, and I have at least made an attempt to answer your your questions and your thoughts. Now it's up to you what you take action upon. I know that I'm going to continue to take action and challenge myself to become better. I believe Jim is in the same uh, yacht or the same airplane, right? We're going somewhere. In the meantime, there's some things, there's some activities, there's some life hacking that we must do before we get to that destination. Jim, I'm going to give you the last words here. Actually, I'll be closing here, but go ahead and share, and
Okay.
we'll close the program out.
Yeah, for everyone who's watching the program, everyone really should, pay attention to, that last clip that Santos gave. I mean, he's a true testimonial of being really down, but changing his life for the better because he made a decision. He made a decision, and he took action on that decision, you know, little by little, little by little, little by little. I mean, Santos, you know, developed that discipline. And we all have that ability, man. If you can be disciplined to go to the casino all the time and lose your money, you have the ability, you have the discipline to change the way you think, you know, setting goals, reflecting on your life, you know, dreaming of what is better, what can be better in your life, and taking action day by day, right? Santos says moment by moment, moment by micro moment. And focus and concentration. That was the title of that video. Focus, focus. You know, what is my main focus? What do I want to make sure I get accomplished? You know, my life. I have power over my life. I can go and change it. And Santos is a great testimonial to that. Great testimonial. So I mean, everyone should be inspired. Everyone say, you know what? I can do it. I can do it. Because he did it. I can do it too. You know? Journal. Write down. Listen to coaches, get coaches, talk to Santos, you know, hire him as a coach. You know, every little detail that you take care of, right? You start becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, you know, and then you have that breakthrough. You have that breakthrough. You start that momentum starts building, and then you'll be unstoppable, right? You'll be unstoppable. So yeah, I mean, like really think about that. Santos's testimonial right there.
Thank you, Jim. All the way from Tucson, Arizona. All right, folks, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Once again, we may have another session like this where you can bring your questions. I know sometimes we can't get to everybody. We've had quite a crowd here. Shout out to Facebook. Once again, shout out to Twitter and of course YouTube. So I do want to thank you, Keith. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you, Sumaya. Thank you for being a community member. John, Mark, thank you. Little gorilla orangutan. I don't know what that thing is there. Inspiration. Keep on turning it on. Laura, I appreciate you for sharing. I'm glad that you and Mark are doing well and moving into the another job. Trucking turns you into a criminal. Yes, it will. Did I get Mark here? Thank you for joining us. Terrence, Rob, Purify. Is it Purify? There we go. Thank you for hanging out with us. Moment to moment. Thank you. Rosa shares heartfelt words. Jim, thank you. Thank you, Rosa, for being Mauricio. Hopefully we've planted some seed in the garden of your mind. My friend Auto Magic, and let me see who else have been here. Natalie Luna, te ves tan joven. Thank you. She says I look young. Come on now. What about today? No, I'm just joking. There. Gore. Did I get Terrence? Yes, I believe I got Terrence. Man, I ain't finally gambling because it licks straight up. You can do it. You can make change. Gore. And I smoked leftover cigarette butts, man. I've been there too. Was out of cigs and nervous and anxious. Laura said she would look in the garbage cans and stuff like that. That kind of made me laugh there, yeah. So, did I get Mauricio? All right, Mauricio. And so that's going to Auto Magic. I believe he's still with us here. Yeah. And let me see who else was here. John, Mark, Brian. Hey, Brian. I'm glad you were here. I didn't catch you there. I'm going through it. Casinos are crooks, thieves. Yes, they are. But we're going to see you purify. We're going to see you guys, Lord willing, next Sunday at 7:05, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Time to take action, folks. Time to take action. And I will bury Rob. Brian says, I wish I was never born. Job said that in the Bible also, but we're here for a reason. And until until our clock is off, then we must do what we have to do. Race, Mark Cameroon, And I believe that's everybody that was with us tonight, except those others that we didn't see. Carlito's way. All right, thank you. Thank you for your comment there. And Mark, oh, we missed Mark. There we go. Sai Santos, I'm here. Me too. Thank you for being here. Once again, The Rock from Brockton. Thank you for sharing, all of you guys. You guys make my day. You make my night. I'm sure Jim appreciates you all also. So with that said, take action. I'll see you at the top on the inside on my very next broadcast. Until then, peace through strength.
Thanks, Santos. You have a great week.
Thank you. You do the same.
Take care. Bye-bye.
There's no time for regret.